So when a woman hears the word porn, we go into many visceral type of emotional responses, and some tend to express their disdain for the behavior because they haven't understood that it's not about them. So male brain is very different than female brain, and what we have been taught in religious circles is that dogma expects a person to just lay down whatever the sin is without realizing that there's a backdrop, there's a backstory. Nobody just wakes up one day and decides to masturbate and look at a bunch of porn, or to sell their bodies, or to do something enticing sensually or sexually or lustfully without being first predisposed to some type of breach or perversion. That always happens very young in life, and I'm going to go as far as to say before the age of 3, because 3 happens to be that magic number where Satan and the suggestion of Satan really comes in to plague people through sexual abuse. And if that occurs, most often people grow up believing that they are homosexual, that they are deviants, that they have some kind of problem that they have to maintain in secrecy. So when a female marries such a person and doesn't realize that he has this backstory in his closet, and suddenly it comes to light because she discovers his porn watching on the computer, or it's let out when they face some kind of stress and he finds himself resorting to old behavior after he repented, we've got a lot of religious spiritual stuff that rises up. And so dogma is going to be that thing that says, don't do this and do this. And what I'm trying to say is, because of something long-standing in a person's childhood, that is the reason why they resort to porn. Now, porn can also be tagged with a sex-based control spirit or a lust spirit. Those are very different. The sex-based control spirit is going to be on a person that then makes them more deviant in controlling other people. So other women or men would have to entice them and satisfy their lustful desires. A lustful spirit is going to be more within the person, where they are driven and compelled to look at porn and or masturbate because they find a release from it. But all these things first take place in childhood. That's where the anchor is. And that's what we're failing people when we negate that they have a childhood problem because they're acting out as an adult. And then we're tisking and telling them just to stop it. So when I have couples that have had this breach in their marriage, in their covenant, and the female is always ready to run, I want to caution and then point her back to whatever issues she has, because those are long-standing from her own childhood, and it would be the same way to perceive his issue with porn. That being said, the problem that we have before our partner is ours. It's a pre-partner problem. And so therefore, if a person comes to the table with a closet porn issue and we hear about it, as females, we're going to recoil and assume that he doesn't love us, that his brain is mush, that he is always lusting after women, he can't reel it in, and then we worry about the practices in the bedroom and what positions, he's wanting us to partake in. And so all of that goes into this harsh judgment of, you have to just stop it. So we put the brakes on and we make sure that there's all kinds of bells and whistles that go off on his technology so that therefore you can be informed. But all that is wrecking the nervous system of the woman. And that is because you're assuming it's about you. And if we really can appropriate that he has parts in his system that were already working before you came into his life, that should help lower the nervousness in your own system, and the parts that you have that feel like you're inadequate or you're competing with all these lovely ladies out here. You can gain some empowerment by realizing that if he works on the problem that he had pre-you, that you can actually have a very enriching and powerful testimony, which many people that have suffered through infidelity can attest to. The trials of being in a partnership and in a relationship, they surface for the sake that both of you can come into wholeness. That means looking within and seeing the parts of you that get triggered by him looking at porn, that believe it's about you, and allowing him to actually address that it's not about you at all, but that he needs some long-standing healing. And once the two of you get it, you can take forth in a prosperous and magnificent relationship.